Hi, today we're going to talk through quickly about how to change the fonts in Gantry. It's pretty simple. You can customize Gantry in a lot of different ways, but before you start you may as well click on Components and then Gantry 5 Themes, and you may as well set the base background color, the base font color, and then the body font. So these come from Google Fonts, and you can search for them if you know what font you want. So why can't I think of a font? Stands, there you go, there's a font. So then in here, when I open it by clicking on the top bit, I can choose to have normal. Normally I'd need an italic and a bold as well, so I'll have 400 italic and then bold. I will choose maybe 700. Maybe there's a bold italic, so I'll choose that as well. You don't want to choose all of them because it adds to the load time of the site, so choose as least as possible. You know, you may choose to have semi-bold or extra bold, but doesn't matter as long as you choose least possible. But I would say you're always going to need normal, and you're probably going to need italic, and you're probably going to need bold. I would always have bold italic as well, but I'll click OK for that. And now my heading font, you can see I've got loads to choose from. Again, they're all on Google Fonts. If you want to find out what they look like and everything like that and choose them separately, you could go on Google Fonts. Generally I choose the category, so serif is what's a good example? You know what, I'll just change it to serif only so you can see the good example. Serif has these ticks at the top and the bottom. That's what a serif is, the ticks at the top and the bottom of the letters. And sans serif has no ticks at the top and the bottom. So like these with straight with nothing at the top and the bottom. So often you'll be choosing one of the two. But sometimes you might decide to have display. These ones are all like quite different, and often they don't have many styles in the display ones. These ones have got like 4 styles, so when you're looking at the styles it would be a decisive thing because you can have italics and bold and stuff like that, bold italic. So there you go, that's what I said was the bare minimum, and that's what they've done. And this is because it's more like for headings or posters or something like that. You'd often see these used, but you just don't really need it for all the different properties, whereas for some you might need a lot of styles because you might be using a different variety. Handwriting is obviously handwriting fonts, so these have a place, but I wouldn't be using them like 24/7, so it might be nice to have this maybe on top of you know, like a banner or something. If you had like, it reminds me of a Shopify store, to be honest with you, some sort of crafts or something. But yeah, obviously if you use this as your body font, it's just going to be really difficult to read, and I wouldn't use it like that. Use it if you really want it to come across as handwriting or something. Finally we've got monospace, and monospace has got kind of the same amount of space for each letter. So as you can see, here's probably a good example. Let's go to the bold one, it looks a bit clearer. What you can see is there's a little bit too much of a gap for this O. Normally you would find that the S would butt up against it a little bit more, and look at this F, it's got huge space around it. So normally you'd find that E could go tighter and the O would go tighter. So let's go back actually, and then I'll do like a sans serif next to it. See this L, it takes up way less space than the M, right? You can see that, and you can see that a lot of the O still has a bit of space around it, but the E is tucked in kind of right close to there, and the R and the E are kind of tucked in as well. So there's a lot of times when letters tuck together, this I and this T, hardly using any space before the comma. But when you just see the monospace stuff, you can see even the comma has quite a lot of space around it. Nothing butts up or tucks in. So they all have the equal amount of space. So it's okay, it can be used for, like, if you're trying to do a typewriter effect or something, it can be used, or some sort of effect where it looks like you're on a computer or something maybe. But again, use it sparingly and use it for the right purposes. Don't use that as a body font or anything, it becomes tiresome to read it. So those are your different types of fonts. I've gone a bit off track with this tutorial, but also you can choose languages, but also you could choose font properties, so number of styles. So say I'm looking for something for my body font, I might want them to have like quite a lot of styles. So again, you can see styles, it's got thin, it's got thick. So if I wanted to use this, I could almost use like a really big thin font for the headings, and I could use a slightly thicker fonts for the body and stuff. But you can also choose other things like the thickness. So you might say, I want a really thick font, I mean something chunky, you know, and you might want to choose the slant. So some things are not slanted at all, some things are very slanted, some things are a bit in between. And then the width, not really sure what this does, if I'm honest with you. It looks like it's the letter, well, width of the letters, I think. Yeah, so it kind of can translate a bit to thickness as well. Oh, and you've got variable fonts as well. And these fonts, they can change size really easily. It's not a very good description. Well, you know what? If you're watching this, go Google it. Variable fonts are, I think they might have been invented by Google, where you can change the size really, really easily. You can actually change the size of the like the slant and the thickness and everything like that. It's not based on what font is available to you. You can, it's like programmatic. You can change the thickness of stuff just by telling it. Anyway, that's how you choose your fonts. Back to where we were, and then you can just search for them. So what have we got here? Urbanist. So let's see if it's available. Should be. Urbanist. It's not coming up. Maybe they're not all available. Anyway, a lot of them are. If they're not available, we can always try and search it. The good thing about this is you can do the categories and stuff as well, which is handy. We won't worry about that. Anyway, so just choose a font. Montserrat looks great. It's a heading. Sod it. Let's make it a huge heading. Right. In fact, let's not, because I'm actually doing this on a live site, so it won't save anything. But if you do that at the beginning of your build, you'll save a lot of time trying to edit SCSS files and stuff like that. You might notice that I've got accent 1, 2 and a contrast color. I added that contrast color myself, so if you don't see that on your version and you're watching this, that's because I've added this in. Also same with the sections, I've added some in. If you don't see them, that's why. You can add them in too, but I'm not going to do that in this tutorial. I'll show you another one. Anyway, that's what you should do to start off your process. Thanks for watching.